If you're looking to build your relationship with your child, these are the do's and don'ts that you're going to want to follow. Starting off with the do's. You want to be able to listen actively, meaning that you're not preoccupied when your child is talking. You need to let them know that you're actually listening. Set clear boundaries. You need to establish that line between what you accept, what you don't accept, and then the consequences for them crossing over that line. Encourage independence. You do this by allowing them to fail a little bit. Let them take on those small challenges of their own. You could be their safety net, not a harness. Model respect and empathy. Well, it's pretty clear. If you want your children to act a certain way, the best way to get them to do that is by you acting a certain way. Be consistent. You can't be over here one day, over here another day. You set your boundaries, do all these things on this list, but do it consistently. You can't enforce one set of rules one day and another set of rules another day. Validate their emotions. So it's important that they know that you understand what they're feeling. How can you relate to what they're going through? Be open about telling them that you've also gone through things in your life and let them know you can relate to them. You want to promote a growth mindset. This is one of the biggest factors to success, is the ability to have a growth mindset. And maybe they don't have it at this point. They can have a fixed mind state and develop into a growth mindset. That's what I've done in my own life. There was a time where I thought, these are my abilities, these are things I know, this is all I'm ever going to be. And I was completely wrong. So promote this to them. They need to have a growth mindset, which is their ability to know that if they put the effort into learning new things, new skills, meeting new people, going new places, having new experiences, if they put in that effort, they can be further and better than they are right now. Support their interests. Show them by being present, which is another one of them, that you are interested in what they're interested in. Now, maybe it's not some silly game that they're playing on an iPad or something, but try to find these things that interest them and participate as best you can in those games, or at least support them in what they're doing. Oh, real quick, this isn't on here. Always praise the effort as opposed to the result. So you don't want to just say, hey, you did so good, you're the best, congrats on winning this game and this championship. No, you want to tell them your effort was phenomenal. I really like the way you pushed through when you guys were being challenged. Stuff like that. Teach responsibility. And that goes back to part of boundaries also, and independence. You want to give them small responsibilities at first and then gradually increase their responsibility, let's call it load, where they're not overwhelmed. But if you never set these boundaries from the beginning, then you try to give them chores and tasks to handle, and they're going to be overwhelmed. They're going to be resistant. So you need to start these things at an early age, but don't burden them. Try to make these things fun to do. Let them know that they're contributing to the things that need to be done in your household. They want to help you. So use things like this to say, hey, this is what, mommy or daddy, need for you to help. If you want to help, can you please do this? Ask them their opinion on things, whether you need it or not, so that they feel involved. Prioritize family time. There's no better, fix than being present. If you want your kids to be enthusiastic about you being around, be around. You want a healthy, not to mention a healthy marriage, you need to be present with your family. So your kids are going to notice how often or not that you're present. So don't think they don't. Don't make the mistake that so many people make in prioritizing work, money, And then their kids are old, and guess what? You're not the cool mom or dad that they once wanted to hang out with. You don't want to die with that regret. Lead by example in every aspect. And it's going to tie into the next one, buy healthy food, right? Live by example. The best way to get your kids to live a certain way is by you living a certain way. Lead by example. If you want your kids to be healthy and strong, you have to be healthy and strong. You have to make exercise a priority. I'm not saying you need to be a gym rat, but your kids should know that you're pretty serious about your health and you're pretty serious about their health. And that way they'll know that there's value in it because, well, my mom or dad take it very serious. And the research says that even if just one parent is into, taking care of their physical and mental health, the children are much more likely to end up successful in that area. So now we're going to go on to the don'ts. Here are the things that you definitely don't want to do if you're trying to build that relationship with your children. Comparing them to other kids. You do not want to be comparing your kid to other kids. Never say, oh, well, how come you didn't get A's in this class when little Johnny over here got all A's? That is the worst thing you can do. It's bad enough they're in the age of social media where they're doing all kind of self-comparison in every aspect of their life. Do not promote that any more than it is already being promoted. Doing too much, overprotecting. And this goes back to what I said before. You want to encourage independence. Well, you can't do that if you do too much. And I know you love your children, but there's a dangerous path when it comes to doing too much for them. This is something that I experienced in my own life. My parents loved me. I'm sure the way you love your kids also. But you have to learn to let them fail at least a little bit. Because what's going to happen if you do everything for them, every challenge they face, you take control of it. They know that if something happens and they're in trouble, mommy or daddy is going to come rescue them. What are the results of that when they're 21 years old, 25 years old, or older, and they're still living at home? You've trained their brain to believe that these consequences don't matter because my parents are going to come in and save me. Don't encourage that from a young age. This is where their brains are like sponges and they're learning the most, and they're trying to find out what you're all about. And that they do that by what you consistently do. They're going to try to manipulate you any way they can. Like, this is them trying to find out, well, what are my boundaries? But you already set those clear boundaries, so you don't have to worry. This is huge, especially in different cultures. Do not impose your dreams on your children. Allow your children to dream and do something that they enjoy doing. I know in certain cultures, everyone wants their kid to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer. And if it's viewed as if they don't become this, that they're a failure. That is a horrible, horrible thing to be promoting to your kids. Being successful is one thing. Forcing them to live a life, to take on a career that maybe you couldn't achieve, or maybe you could and you want them to follow in your footsteps, honestly, it's selfish. There's no other word for it. Allow your kids to explore different opportunities and find out what they enjoy doing, what the world needs, and what they can make money doing. Avoid harsh criticism. There's a certain way to criticize your kids for the things that they do. All kids are doing, things that they probably shouldn't be doing at some point or another. You don't want to badger them. You don't want to beat them down, not physically, obviously not, but mentally, and make them feel small. You always want to give positive feedback before negative feedback. Even adults, if you're in any leadership position, you don't want to just belittle somebody. Always approach with a compliment first, and then say, hey, I really like the way you did this. but have you considered doing this a little bit differently? In that way. Do not neglect your own self-care and hit anyone with the excuse that, oh, it's for my kids. The reason I'm, obese, or the reason that my mental health is out of whack, the reason that, I'm an alcoholic. Like, stop with the excuses. Like, you need to show up for yourself if you're going to be willing to show up for your kids. Let me repeat that. If you can't show up for yourself, how can you show up for your kids and anyone else? You need to fill your own glass before you pour into others. Don't overload their schedules. So, yes, we want the kids to be active, right? Especially out of the house in sports and other kind of, youth activities. We don't want them on iPads all day long, on computers, on cell phones all day long. I mean, they're naturally going to go do that as soon as they have free time. So you want to occupy a lot of their free time with extracurricular things. Yeah, they obviously spend like 8 hours a day at school, but what else are they doing? And then they get out of school and it's back to back to back to back to back things until they go to sleep. Like, they're going to get burnt out. As adults, that's how we get burnt out. Your kids are no different. So give them a little bit of free time. Don't overburden them. And again, let them explore things that they want to do. If they like one sport for a little while and they change their mind and they want to go do something else, they want to join a chess club or something, let them experience that. Don't just force them down one pathway. Avoiding tough conversations. This is a big one also. There's going to be difficult conversations, especially when your kid gets to the age where they're a teenager. You're going to have some difficult conversations. The longer that you avoid these difficult conversations, the harder they're going to get. And then you have to also consider, when your child is asking you a question, if you're not going to provide them with an answer, if you're going to turn around and say, you're not old enough to know about this, well, newsflash, they already know about this in the way that they're at least asking for more information about it. So you turn around and you tell them, oh, you're not ready for this kind of information. Okay, what do you think they're going to do? They're just going to go to a source that's less reliable. They're going to go to some random place on the internet. They're going to go to some friend that they have at school, an older friend of some sort, and they're going to get whatever answer that source gives them. So if your child's already asking you about certain things, I mean, in my opinion, your best bet is to just address it, and teach them in a respectful way of like, listen, this is the thing that we're talking about, and I want to make sure you know this is very serious, and it's really not our business to be sharing this with other people. Everyone is going to learn on their own. Something like that. Don't micromanage them. This goes back to independence, right? Let them live a little bit. Right now, my kids, I got them breaking down boxes in the living room. It's a disaster, right? But I don't need to go in there and say, oh no, this is how you do this. You need to fold them up. It needs to be neat and wrap it up. No, you got to pick your battles. Some things are just like better off not bothering them about. So just remember, don't micromanage them about every little thing, okay? There's some things that are important that you probably should micromanage a little bit, and some things that you just gotta say, whatever. Don't withhold affection. This is something I see too, and it breaks my heart, right? If you love your children, I'm assuming, like 99% of parents love their children, the ones that haven't given them up already. You want to show them that you love them. Well, how do you do that? One, by being present in their lives. Two, don't be afraid to say, I love you. Have a good day at school. I love you. Give them a hug. Give them a kiss. You need to do that. They need that affection, because if they don't have that affection from you, again, they're gonna go somewhere else to get it. And maybe it's not gonna be the best place that they should go to get affection. Don't discipline out of anger. What I'm saying is, maybe they did something crazy, stupid, Maybe you're super pissed off about it. Cool off a little bit. This is how you end up with regrets. You discipline too harshly, too soon after the incident happens, and I promise you, you're going to end up coming back and saying you're sorry because you overreacted. Same thing in an adult confrontation. Take some time and cool off. Like, if you realize, you're upset about something, the best bet is give it some time. Don't be a hypocrite. I love this one because, obviously, I wrote this list. I love this one because it goes back to leading by example. How can you expect your kids to take you serious and you say, hey, health and fitness and, all this other stuff is important, but then, you eat like crap, you're overweight. Like, that's just one example. How can you talk to your kids about the importance of respecting other people, but yet you and your spouse are in each other's face cursing each other out? Like, you need to be conscious of the way you're acting because your kids, they're watching you. Last one on the don't list. Do not always take the quick and easy route when it comes to food. I know you're overwhelmed. I know your schedule's probably jam-packed. You're going to work. You're driving kids here and there and here and there, and you don't have a ton of time. What I want to suggest is meal prepping, but in a way where maybe you're just cooking a bunch of chicken breasts for the week, and then you have some rice that you can make real quick, and then you have some vegetables that you could pull in. So what I personally do is I will have my basic sources of protein, either make a large quantity of chicken for the week or ground turkey for the week, or could be a bunch of other things. And then I have my sides that take me maybe 10 minutes to make at some point, whenever the day comes for dinner. And then you also, if you're going to do frozen food, there's a difference. There's some food that is better quality. Well, how do you know the food that's better quality? In general, it's probably more expensive. The last thing you want to be buying, I'll end this with a quick nutritional tip. Don't buy your kids stuff with high added sugars, too much sodium, too much processed food. In general, if it grew out of the ground or walked on the earth, it's probably good to eat. So I hope you enjoyed this list. This is my do's and don'ts of, connecting more with your kids. See you on the next one.